Today we're reading Isaiah chapters 44 through 48. Isaiah begins to prophesy about a return of Israel to the land. Now that's interesting inasmuch as Jerusalem hasn't even fallen yet, but it would be a man named Cyrus the Persian who in 535 BC would allow Israel to go back to the land. Well, Isaiah prophesies all that, and it's before Jerusalem even falls. Now the Assyrians, of course, have been attacking Israel, and they've conquered all the lands, Israel and other countries around Israel, but they were never able to conquer little old Jerusalem. A miraculous thing happened which delivered Jerusalem from their onslaught. However, they were the power, they were the dominating power in the area during this era of time. Now the Babylonians wouldn't come along till later, but Jerusalem, as Isaiah prophesied, would fall to the Babylonians. Well, Isaiah here in chapter 44 talks about the return to the land and talks about there is no other God but Jehovah and the pitfalls of idolatry. He revisits that subject. But then in the latter part of chapter 44, he says that Cyrus will bring you back. A remarkable prophecy. You really need to read those verses in Isaiah chapter 44 and see what Isaiah said about it. And then in chapter 45, he continues on talking about Cyrus and all the way into the end of chapter 45 where he begins to describe the millennium itself. It's an interesting read today. Shows what great prophetic insight that Isaiah shared with Israel, with Jerusalem, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, before they even fell. So read it. I think you'll like it. See you tomorrow.